Hi, everyone. Welcome today. Thanks for being with us. My name is Meg Hewer. I'm the owner of Brand Accelerator, and we're a firm that works with small business owners to help them with their marketing. So they often come to us because they don't have the time or the expertise to do their own marketing, and we will create their marketing plan and then we execute all of it for them. So we have worked with a lot of small business owners over the years, and we've seen what works and what doesn't work for them. And the thing that we find overwhelmingly makes a difference is if they have a strong brand for their business. And so that's what we're talking about today. The topic is how to create a brand for your small business. And I'm going to share my slides with you. If you would like a copy of them, please feel free to email me at mhuer@thebrandaccelerator.com. So that's MHUWAR at thebrandaccelerator.com, and I would be happy to send these to you. So let's see if I can share this. Here we go. All right. So the first thing I want to do is talk about what a brand is and give you a definition for it, because people use this word and kind of throw it out all over the place, and people don't always use it in the same way, right? It gets confusing. So I'm going to share with you the definition that we use with our clients. And this is our definition. A brand is what people think of when they think of your business. It gives you a competitive advantage and allows you to make an emotional connection with your customers. So this is a mouthful, and we're going to break this down because there's three parts to this definition. So we're going to break this down so you have a better understanding of what a brand is and how you can do this for your business. So the first thing is, what do people think of when they think of your business? So what happens a lot of times is we're really vague in how we describe our businesses. We might say something like, we help heal people, or we make people feel better, or we help people grow their business. Like, what does that mean? That can mean so many things. Um, and so it can be confusing to people. And what we need to do is to be very clear and make it understandable and very simple for people to really get a sense of what you do. So one of the things we often see here too is people use a lot of jargon and they cause confusion. So we want you to make it really easy for people so that they can, at the very least, have a general category that they can fit you in, that there's a space in their brain for what you do. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. So if I say the word McDonald's, you're going to think of fast food. If I say Macy's, you probably are going to think of clothing. If I say Coke, you think of soft drink. Um, if I say Budweiser, you're going to think of a beer. So automatically, these companies occupy a space in your brain. They have a category assigned to them so that your brain can understand what they do. And we need to do that for you as well. So the next part of the definition is that a brand gives you a competitive advantage. So this is a really important piece of this, because we need to explain what we do that is different from what our competitors are doing. What do we do that's unique to us? Um, what problem do you solve for your customers in a unique way? Um, so, so for example, let's look at some companies that do this really well. Amazon Prime, right? You purchase something from them, they will deliver it the next day. Speed, that's what they're selling, is speed. Walmart, what do they offer? They have the low price guarantee. So if you need shampoo, conditioner, even a TV, and you want to get the best price, you know that you can probably get that at Walmart, because that's what they're known for, is their low price guarantee. Look at a company like Tom's, right? They there's nothing really spectacular about their shoes. But when you buy from them, they give back to you buy a pair of shoes, then they give a pair of shoes to someone in need. And that is a competitive advantage because people love that company. They have gotten behind that company because they feel like when they buy something from them, they're doing good because Tom's is doing good in the world. That separates them from everyone else who is selling shoes. If they didn't have that competitive advantage, they would be just another shoe manufacturer, right? So they've done something that makes them unique and different. And you need to do the same thing in your company. So, what is your competitive advantage? If you don't have one, this is really worth taking the time to sit with and try to figure out what you can do there. And the third part of the definition is that it allows you, a strong brand allows you to make an emotional connection with your audience. So this is a little bit trickier in some ways, but what we want here is that your customers feel something about your business. So we want them to, love working with you, for example. I love Amazon Prime. I have an emotional connection to Amazon Prime because I I have a crazy busy life. I don't have time to get in the store in my car and drive to the store for every single thing that I need. They make my life so much easier and they save me time. They just, in general, make my life easier. So I love them. I have an emotional connection to that company. Whenever I talk about them, I can say, I love that business. I love working with them. That's what we want you to be able to, that kind of connection with your customers. And maybe it's not necessarily that you're trying to create that I love you part. It might be that you want to share your passion with your customers, that maybe that's how you create that connection. Maybe you are really into the environment and sustainability and using good practices that um, are sustainable practices, right? Maybe you're a carpet cleaning company that is chemical free, and people will feel strongly about using that kind of a company because they don't want those chemicals on the carpets where their pets are and their kids are crawling around. They will feel a strong connection to that business. That's what we're trying to do when we talk about creating an emotional connection with your customers. This is not an easy thing to do, but once you do this, it's very hard to lose that customer. You will have them for life because you have created a real emotional connection, and that is hard to break. So, how are you creating emotional connections with your customers? If you're not doing that, think about how you can start to do that. So I just gave you a lot of examples from big companies, right? We talked about McDonald's and Budweiser and Amazon. So do you need a brand as a small business? And I've heard a lot of small business owners say that's not necessary, but I would totally disagree with that. And here's why. If you are a big business with a big budget, a big marketing budget, and a large marketing team, then you can make some missteps in terms of your budgeting. You can make some missteps in terms of um, you 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 buy the wrong advertising, right? You waste money that doesn't work, or you have messaging that doesn't resonate. It doesn't matter if you're a huge company because you can tweak and redirect and be okay. If you're a small business, we don't have that luxury. So everything that we do, when we use our time or our resources to market our businesses, needs to be on point. And if you create a strong brand for your business, you are going to be on point with that messaging, and you'll be able to figure out then where your customers are and how you can attract them, and you won't lose a lot of money with your marketing either. So that's that's a big part of why we recommend doing this. The other piece of this is that a lot of times a business will start, like they come up with an idea, right? And I was guilty of this. I did this when I started my business. You come up with an idea. I'm going to have a business. This is what I'm going to do. And then you jump straight to the part where you start promoting your business because you need customers, right? You left your job. You got to get money coming in the door. So you just start promoting. But if you skip this step of figuring out what your brand is, then you don't have anything to take out to the world. You don't have anything to say. And then you become just another marketing firm. You become just another IT company. You become just another uh, retail location, right? You've got to have something unique to say. And if you don't create that brand, then you will spend a lot of years clawing and scratching for customers. So, how are we going to do this, right? How do we create this brand for your small business? Well, I have put together a 5-step framework that we use with our clients, and I'm going to share this with you today. And you can do this for your own business. So the first step is, what is the purpose of your business? So I oftentimes have people say, well, I just need to provide for my family. That's the purpose of my business. And obviously that's a good purpose, but that cannot be your only reason. If the only reason you're working in your business is that you wanted to get out of your big corporate job and find something else to do, that message does not resonate with the world, right? You've got to have a bigger purpose than that. So this is not what you do, but this is why you do it. What gets you out of bed every morning and gets you excited to go help your customers? Whether it's helping them find the right shoes to fit their family and to give them comfort, or whether it is that you're a real estate agent who just loves helping people find their dream home, a place where they're going to raise their family. Whatever that purpose is, that is your why. It's what gets you out of bed in the morning. It's not what you do, but it's why you do it. And that's what people want to know about. Um, in addition to understanding what you do, they want to understand why you do it. What is your story? The second part of this framework is to identify your ideal customer. And I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times. And the reason you've heard it 1,000 times is because it's that important. You really need to know who your ideal customer is. And I did say ideal customer because not every customer is a good customer, right? You want to look at your best customers and get more of those people. So how do you do that? You take those ideal customers, your best customers that you currently have, and figure out, what do they all have in common? What is their age? What is their sex? What are their interests? What's their income? What's their education level? Where do they live? What do they do for a living? What do they do for fun? Really create this avatar so that you know who you're talking to when you're doing your social media or you're writing your ads. You want to have that person in mind. I actually have a friend who has a business who has named their avatar. He calls his ideal customer Jane, and he can tell you everything about Jane because he's really created this customer in his mind. And that's what you need to do, so that when you sit down and you write your social media posts, you're talking to Jane, right? When you're doing videos, you're talking to Jane. That's how you attract the right people, because that's who you are directing your message to. You're not talking to the whole world. You're talking to your Jane. The next part of the framework, the third leg of this framework, is, what problem do you solve or need do you fill? So sometimes business owners will come up with an idea that no one really needs. And hopefully that's not your business. What you need to do is look at it from your customer's perspective. not from yours. And oftentimes as business owners, we do that, right? We say, here's what they need, and here's what I'm going to give them. But what we really need to look at is what do they really need? Not what we think they need. We need to talk to them. We need to find out what their real problem is. And if you've been in business for any length of time, you probably have had these conversations and you know what they're looking for. That's what you want to give them. And sometimes as business owners, we say, well, they want this, but what they really need is this. You need to identify their true need and how do you solve it? And how do you solve it in a unique way that not everybody else is doing? So the next one, who are your competitors? This is really important. I had a client a couple of years ago say to me, I don't care who my competitors are. I don't care what they're doing. If you want to have a strong brand, you need to know who your competitors are because you need to know where you fit in the marketplace. So are you the high cost provider? Are you the low cost provider? Either of those gives you a really clear message, right? If you're somewhere in the middle, how do you differentiate yourself? That's okay. But what is it that you do that your competitors aren't doing, right? You can't do that if you don't understand what they are doing. So caution, I'm not asking you to copy what they're doing, because if you copy what your competitors are doing, then you are not doing anything that's unique and different. So we don't want to copy it, but we want to understand what they're doing. So we understand where we fit in the marketplace. And when you are talking to, so for example, you may get a phone call from somebody who says, hey, I'm interested in getting a proposal from you or an estimate from you. And I'm talking to 3 other people, and I will say to them, who are you talking to? And that helps me see where I might or might not be a good fit for them. And I will go so far as to say, hey, here's what Joe does, and he's really good at this. Here's what Susie does, and she's good at this. Here's what I do, and this is how we're different. So it'll help them figure out who's a good fit, right? So know your competitors, know where you fit into the marketplace. And finally, what is your competitive advantage? And we just talked about this a little bit a minute ago. What makes you unique and different? How do you solve your clients' problems in a way that no one else is doing? What are you doing that makes their life different or better? And here's the thing. And I'm going to show you this slide. If you don't have a competitive advantage, you will be reduced to a commodity. You will be seen as a commodity, which will put you in a race for the bottom. Let me give you an example. When years ago, I was looking for a photographer. I wanted somebody to help me do some photos for my website. This was before I had my own team. And I called several people, and they all told me the same thing. They take pictures of babies, they take pictures of families, they take high school seniors, they do weddings, they do business people. So they could do anything I needed. I was looking for someone who was going to say to me, hey, I work with business people. I can really help you create some beautiful photos that will work on your website, work on your social media, that kind of thing. And no one said that to me. So to me, I couldn't see any difference in these 3 photographers I talked to. They all said exactly the same thing. So it was a commodity, right? I just ended up picking the cheapest one because nobody stood out. No one said anything different than the others did. And you don't want to be that one. You don't want to be the one that gets chosen because you're the cheapest. Because if you are going to scrape and claw your way through your business. Every client is going to be tough to get. So it is much easier when you have this framework in place, when you've created a brand for your business that makes it really clear for people to understand what you do. So what happens if you can't figure out your differentiator? And I have, I've had this experience with people before, and I struggled with this early in my business. If you can't figure something out, right? You don't have that Amazon Prime thing, right? You can't deliver your service faster. Then here's a couple of things to consider. Find a niche, or specialize in something. So instead of being a photographer who works with everyone, be the photographer who specializes in baby photos. Moms love going to photographers who are really good at working with babies and have really cute backgrounds and that kind of stuff. You'll get moms flocking to you once you say you do that. But you have to say that you specialize in something. And that can be scary for people because we often think that if we niche down or we specialize in something, that means we can't work with everyone else. And that's not true. You can work with whoever you want to work with. But that's the message you can take to the world. You can lead with that. You can always, take some other people, especially as you're building your business and getting more of those ideal clients so you can keep the money coming in. But as you identify that ideal customer and specialize in that niche, you'll eventually get there so that you're working mostly with those people. You can position yourself as an expert, right? Maybe you are an attorney who is an expert in divorce law. So you specialize in that. You position yourself as an expert in that, and then you do a lot of thought leadership work, right? You put information out into the world, sharing your expertise of how to get through divorce and be able to have custody of your kids, retain your income, all of that, where you're sharing your expertise with people. And through that sharing, they come to see you as that expert that they need. So that's an option. The other idea is to say something that no one else is saying. And this is what Edgar Snyder did so well years ago when what he does is he says, we're not going to charge you unless we get money for you, right? You don't pay anything unless we get money for you. That's actually a standard practice in that business. But people didn't know that, right? He took people's biggest fears. Their fears are, how do I pay for these legal fees? But when he came out and said, hey, no, don't worry about it. If we don't win, you don't have to pay. But when you win, you share that money with us. That's saying something no one else was saying. He built an entire business off of just the way their business operates. But he said something no one else was saying, and he was the first one to say it. So these are a couple ideas of things you can do to differentiate yourself and stand out in the marketplace and make yourself competitive. So going into next year, it's a great time to create a brand for your business because 2020 has been pretty difficult for a lot of us. But we're all looking towards 2021 to be a new start, and that could mean creating a strong brand for your business so that you can really kick off 2021 with a great start. My name again is Meg Hewer. If you would like these slides, please feel free to email me. My email address is up here. I would be happy to send these to you. And if there's anything we can do to help you for next year, please let us know. I should also mention that we are starting a coaching program for smaller businesses in 2021, in January, actually. We're taking 5 positions, 5 clients for that. A couple are already full. So if that's of interest, please let us know. All right. Good luck to you and have a great rest of the year. Bye-bye.